please take your seats. So good morning, everyone. So let's try again. Good morning. Great. So you would like to see today. So my name is Paranjothi. I'm the founder of Startup Europe India Network. Welcome to Startup EU India Summit. And I would like to welcome the ambassador to the European Union delegation to India, Mr. Thomas Kozlowski, and ambassador to Estonia, Mr. Krug, ambassador to Slovak Republic, Mr. Bertov, the deputy ambassador, Ms. Laura Hovetti of Grand Duchy of Luxembourg, and the French consular, Mr. Gautier. So, and ladies and gentlemen, and dignitaries, delegates from Europe, India, and from all over, welcome to Startup EU India Summit. So, this is a very special moment for us. The whole summit idea kicked off more than a year.
Since 1903, and we were shocked. It's like 1903, that's amazing. And yet, when it came to innovation, when it came to venture capital, when it came to startups, we found that there's not been much happening between the European and the Indian digital markets. And it's obvious gap, and why is that not much happening, right? And it's been close to 10 years, the Indian startup market really kick-started, and we have some great unicorns, great success stories here, and we thought there should be more happening, and that's the whole point of the Startup Europe India Network. So we built this technology corridor between these two markets, focused on Europe and India and digital. We believe digital is global, which it is. You know, the fundamental laws of physics, digital technologies are global. What we do is that we have to adapt to the local markets, to the local needs, and the key word here is the need. So we need to fill a need, so digital technologies have to serve a purpose. And in many ways, it is serving a purpose. So many of us, or who is using WhatsApp here? Could you raise your hands, please? So almost everyone. So would you agree if I say you're closer to your WhatsApp than your family and friends? So the answer is yes. We take our WhatsApp to the shower, right, sometimes. And we don't take that with our friends and family. So technology has reached to us so much personally that like we'll never imagine. It has touched upon our lives. And these digital technologies are global. So that's the theme of the summit. And certainly that the local market needs and the local sensitivities of the market is something we can only start up with by visiting the markets, by getting exposure to the markets. And that's what we try to do today. So in the last 3 days as a matter of fact, we have more than 25 members of delegates visiting from different European countries. So startups, VCs, corporates, policymakers. So we visited Google, so we visited Ericsson, we visited Liberator Startup, and also we had pitching sessions, and we visited Bangalore, so SAP was hosting us, and so McKinsey was presenting the opportunities that we have with smart cities and fintech, and so we had some great interactions, and the common feedback about the Indian market is very positively surprised and dare I say impressed. So we have VCs such as Equity Ventures here, and the quality of the startups that we've seen in India and has been very good, and it can be compared globally. And obviously India is a big market, so there is no immediate need to go global. But however, the European markets and so on, and some of the markets vary in different sizes, and it has always been geared towards the US market for different reasons to go global. So we would like to see that turn around and see more of Eastern impact of the European markets. And this is a market exposure that we're trying to create today. And it's been a fantastic visit so far, and we hope that today will be a great day as well. And we encourage all of you, we see startups, corporates, policymakers to mix up. That's the purpose of today. And we have a great session planned. So the next one we would have Ambassador Mr. Kozlowski giving us a welcome address, and we will have a very good presentation expected by Mr. Mahesh Naik, talking about the vibrant startup ecosystem in India and its way forward. So we're all looking forward to it, and so we'll have some policy initiatives discussion about what's happening from the European perspective. Europe is quite active, right? I mean, why are startups important? And why are, there's a lot of people talking to us about it's all about startups. Does no one else exist, right? And the reason is, so the major companies are not going to be the major job creators of the world going forward. It's going to be the new companies. And the new companies, when it does a tech element, is generally called startups. And startups generally scale faster than a traditional small business. That's the main difference between startups. So they can really get the jobs accelerated, right? And this is the future. India, for example, we talk about the demographic dividend. And these jobs, where are they going to come from? And Flipkart employs not only sort of highly qualified jobs, but also a lot of delivery jobs and so on, which creates many more opportunities than only what manufacturing sector can create. So that's why they're very important. And we're going to have panel sessions later on today with the corporates. We have a great range of corporates and very high-level decision makers. We'll have the VCs from both sides of the market having panel discussions today. And we'll also have Hanush Tubman, who's leading the Asia-Pacific market for Rocket Internet. And Rocket Internet, I have a special appreciation for Rocket Internet. It's one of the European players that have looked beyond the US and China as a strategy. And they are in Burma, so Burma just opened up, so they're the first to enter a market when the market opens up. And they are largely credited to be making the Berlin startup ecosystem to what it is today, which is one of the most dynamic and vibrant startup ecosystems in Europe. So we're very happy with the lineup, and the closing keynote is going to be given by none other than Mr. Mohandas Pai. So Mr. Pai, as many of you know, is a very, very active investor. He has a lot of ideas and thoughts, and he doesn't hesitate to express that, maybe on Twitter or elsewhere. So we're very happy to today how the session is lined up, and we are very glad that you have turned up this morning. I know it's a bit early in the morning for many of us, and we're still waiting for many to turn up who have registered. So let me take this opportunity to welcome you all once again. And before I hand it over to the podium to Ambassador Kozlowski, I would like to say that it's been a tremendous support from the Startup Europe, the European Commission, but also specifically from the Indian side, the delegation of the European Union to India. And Ambassador has expressed his fullest support, and also Klaus Pendel and so on from the team has been a tremendous support to us. And I thank you, Ambassador, for this. And I would like to welcome the Ambassador to the stage to deliver the welcome address.
Dear Indian friends, fellow ambassadors, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this very important event, and I'm really happy to be with you today. And allow me to confess that this week is overall dominated in my calendar by events related to this EU-India Startup Summit. I'm really happy that this event is only one of series of events which were launched last Monday and will continue. This is not only a government-driven event. This event, or the series of events, is driven by private sector. That's why I'm really happy that representatives of European startups already met so many Indian partners, both in New Delhi, in Gurgaon, and here in Bangalore. And last Tuesday, I hosted a launching event for the whole week at the delegation of the European Union. And that event, at that event, we had a secretary for Department of Industry and Promotional Policies of the Government of India, Secretary Ramesh Abhishek, who on behalf of the Indian government welcomed very much this initiative, and he expressed full support not only on his own behalf but on behalf of the Indian government. And later on he even published a tweet saying, a great initiative, we will work closely with the European Union to promote synergies between the startup ecosystems in India and the European Union. That's why this is very important, that this event consists of so many smaller events, and one of them is today's event. I'm happy to be here. But allow me to make a few more general comments how I see the current stage of our cooperation in this field and how we want to move it forward. Ladies and gentlemen, technology entrepreneurship has become a truly global phenomenon, built on interconnected digital ecosystem transcending frontiers. These ecosystems are the process of reshaping entire markets and changing the way we all work and live. In this context, the role of startups is substantially growing. Over the last years, the startup ecosystems in India and Europe have developed in a very dynamic way, and both are now thriving. However, somewhat surprisingly, until now, there has been very little investment and cross-fertilization of talent between India and the European Union in this field. The leaders of India and the European Union, therefore, at their summit on the 30th of March, encouraged us increase links, and they have endorsed the establishment of a network of innovative startups from India and Europe. And the Startup Europe-India network is doing exactly that. It is a private endeavor which is a part of Startup Europe. And the Startup Europe is an initiative of the European Commission to unite local startup ecosystem across Europe. And allow me to express my thanks particularly to the organizer of this valuable initiative, Mr. Praveen Paranjothi, who has invested a lot of his time and resources to make it possible. And I'm really happy and glad that the European Union, European Commission, and my delegation have been able to provide some support to you. And at the same time, as I mentioned earlier, I would like to express my thanks to the Indian government and friends from the Indian government, from the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, from the Invest India, and to Indian private companies for joining hands in this endeavor today and during last few weeks. I'm absolutely convinced that networking can help to achieve a better understanding of each other, of best practices, and of challenges and opportunities in different environments. This can create synergies, as Secretary Abhishek said last Tuesday, and mutual benefit, and this kind of events can play an important role. Europe has a lot to offer in terms of dynamic and skilled tech professionals, entrepreneurs, and investors. We have a maturing startup scene with thousands of innovators who are world leaders at what they do. And don't forget that the European Union is a huge market of more than 500 million consumers. The growing dynamism of the European ecosystem is demonstrated also by a growing number of European unicorns. I was surprised when I found that now we have almost 50 unicorns in Europe. It means that startup companies, which was established after 2000, and as of now, they have reached a value exceeding $1 billion each. There is also a significant increase in venture capital funding for startups in Europe, and importantly, European startups are getting stronger at generating revenues. And of course, the European Union supports this trend. The European Union digital single market strategy is all about fostering growth and innovation, and at the same time reducing fragmentation in European regulations. Everything is about creating a level playing field for all players, regardless of size or country of origin. Earlier I mentioned about this huge European market which is open for Indian companies, and Indian companies are welcome in Europe at the same time as I understand, European startups are welcome in India. Later on in the course of this event, Mr. Lasso Ballesteros, who is head for Startup Europe at the European Commission, will brief you in more detailed way and will provide more information about how we are supporting startups and innovation at the European level. My colleague, the ambassador of the Slovak Republic, and other colleagues from EU member states embassies in New Delhi will give you examples of initiatives and priorities of EU member states in this field. And most importantly, representatives of EU startups, investors and facilitators will round this picture of, from their perspective, with experiences. They will share information about their experiences, best practices and cooperation interests. But of course, we are also eager to learn from our Indian friends about their startup initiatives, experiences and cooperation interests. On the Indian side, we have the very famous flagship initiatives like Digital India, Smart Cities and Make in India. It's quite natural to establish links between these flagship initiatives and projects in India and in Europe. I mean, first of all, between the digital single market and these Indian flagship projects. And when we launched this series of events 2 days ago in New Delhi, Secretary Abhishek briefed us about concrete action which have been already taken by the Indian government at different level in order to implement the Startup India initiative which was declared by Prime Minister Modi not long ago. And I can confess that I was really impressed by a big number of very practical initiatives which have been designed by the Indian government to improve overall environment for Indian startups. That's why I'm really very optimistic about these possibilities for mutual cooperation between India and the European Union in this field. That's why, another point, this initiative has attracted a lot of attention from the Indian media. I was already approached by the CNBC, by some printing media to give explanation, to give